Welcome to part three. I'm joined by Sean. How are you doing, Sean?
Really happy, Pokey. Happy to be here as well.
We're going for it tonight, aren't we?
We are enjoying it so far. Genuinely love talking boxing, so selfishly, I'm in my element.
Yeah. Do apologise about the delay. I just had to put somebody in the place. You know how it is.
You
You know
do
what I
have- No apologies needed. You do have enough crap to have to respond to some of them. It's not a problem at all.
mean? Yeah. Well, I've been dealing with crap all evening, mate. But hey ho.
Yeah. Ever so brave via email, aren't
Yeah. Oh my God, mate. Well,
they?
you know what? You know how many email? I'm not talking comments. All comments. Cameron deals with that. Actual emails, right? I've just looked on emails. Like 64 emails today of the vilest of vile that you could ever imagine. Absolute, you would the sickness of it. You wouldn't actually believe, mate. Honestly, people actually think. Do you know what? I think people have got too much time on their hands, but
The
some of
thing,
them are like, like you get a sheet of A4 paper.
yeah,
You get a like I've got a letter here from a lawyer, right? No, a normal sheet of A4 paper type. There'd be
yeah.
like six or seven of them, like A4 writing, like 30 lines, and it must take hours. And I'm like, oh my God, can I
For
get?
me, for me, Porky, that's a sign that you're saying and doing something right, though. The sad, obviously, the sado individuals who type, I think you've gone out of your way to send that. You've lost time doing that. But yeah, the fact that you get letters from lawyers acting on behalf of people is a sign you're saying the right things and people don't
No,
like it.
not
So,
lawyers. I'm just saying, like I'm
oh, I'm with you. I'm with you. Sorry, but
real
yeah,
lawyer
yeah,
regarding an invoice, right? Like an A4 sheet of paper, and they have like the top right hand corner where they're from and all that, and blah blah blah. Here with Mitchell's it is, and then you look underneath, and then you've got like four paragraphs on that, and like typed writing. Well, I some of these emails I get, you could make six of these like it's like an A4 sheet of paper in it.
yeah.
Could make six of them, and some of them it's the same person. He'll send me three of them or four a week, and I've had two of him today, and I'm like, how does it take to type all that out?
Yeah, too much time on their hands.
You know what I mean? And some of it is so. One of them, I'll go on about one little incident today. No wonder Dennis got rid of you. You stole ticket money. Oh my God! I had to. You know what? A few years ago, I had Dennis on channel. And I said, Dennis, can we just go on about who handled ticket money? It was Sonny Edwards that put it out on Twitter, wasn't it? And somebody's dug an old tweet up. Well, Sonny
Yeah,
Edwards said this. Oh, Sonny Edwards said that. Well, let me tell you this. Sonny Edwards said that because Nicky Smedley nailed his missus at the time. I don't know if Sonny's still with her. Nicky was nailing and he's on like a donkey, right? Before Sonny. And Sonny had something going on in his head about, Nicky Smedley who fought Amir Khan in
I
ABA
do.
finals.
I
And he,
do.
he went on to be 16-1, and him and Dennis fell out, so they went their separate ways. He went with her before Sonny, and Sonny just couldn't cope with it because Nicky used to terrorise him on social media, and obviously I'm a close friend of Nicky and his dad's.
Yeah,
And he
people.
referring to that, you nick ticket money off Dennis. Well, let me tell you this, right? When I first started with Dennis, I remember what used to happen on the Mondays after shows and that with ticket deals and this and that, fight weeks leading up to it. It's terrible. That's when all fights get cancelled if they've not done tickets.
Yeah.
So I said, whoa, I don't want to be involved in all this, and I'm not handling any ticket money whatsoever. If you want to give me tickets, I'll take them to fire stations because that's what I used to give tickets to fire stations
Yeah.
and that. Which, if they can't sell shows, that which is fair enough. But I'm not handling any money whatsoever. And he said, all right, then you don't have to. Because I just don't want to be involved because there's too many arguments about money and in boxing and stuff. So
Yeah.
I always distance myself from it. But people, Sonny Edwards put some out like that, and people buy into that shit. So I
And
got Dennis on my channel. I said, Dennis, have I ever handled ticket money in knowing you 6 years and working for you? He went, not once. I went, well, there you go. That was good enough for me. So I'm not really bothered what other people say. I just wanted him to say that on my channel. But
all good.
went
And
on
all
about
because
that. Just us
all
characters. I thought, what am I doing reading this? So I just deleted it in end.
and all because little Sonny couldn't touch the sides after a real man went there. Poor
Little
Sonny.
Sonny, obviously. I don't
Poor,
think he was
poor
boxing.
little Sonny.
I think what happened is they'd have been saying, "Oh, did you used to go out with before me?" She might have gone, "Nicky Smedley were one of them," and I can imagine his face.
Yeah, well, I've got a similar story, but I wasn't bitter about it. My ex, his ex, was Mr. Woodhouse, and I couldn't live up to the hype, should we say? But I owned it. I owned my limitations, Porky. I owned my limitations.
No, well, it is what it is, isn't it?
It is.
But no, these emails that I get, like I said, you wouldn't. It's shocking. They're absolutely shocking. But some of them are really articulate, and some of them are nice as well. But usually I get the vile ones, mate. The vile, and I mean the vilest of the vile.
It
But
says
what can you do? It's
it,
nobody says that to me at shows. They come up to me, "How are you doing?" I say, "I'm all right."
it says more about them than you. And like you said, everyone's out with a laptop, aren't they? So keep them coming.
I see people in town centre on a Saturday night, Sheffield, Doncaster, Rotherham, bang on with me. So I
That's all
don't
that matters.
listen, mate. It's boxing people, isn't it? Everybody comes up to you at boxing shows, shake your hand, and then you walk round corner and they go tosser, and that's
Yeah,
boxing people for you, innit? Like I said, everybody's on dole and they're all working for cash.
absolutely. Yes.
Everybody's. I'll rephrase that. Everybody's on sick in boxing. They've all got mental health issues or broken backs. That's what you're up against. So born liars, a lot of them.
And yet some of them have got 100 grand cars putting on
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
Um, yeah. Anyway, sorry. Yeah,
Okay. Amir Khan and KSI. Apparently, it's close. What do you think to that?
I had not heard of that one. I did not see that one coming. Um, I liked Khan when he went on Frotch's show. I think he came across really well. I don't want to see him fight KSI. Um, God, I did not envisage you were going to say that. Blimey, is it an exhibition? Is it going to be licensed? Is it going to be? I suspect it's going to be a misfit dance around, is it not?
Well, what I'm worried about if Amir Khan fights him and he's been squared up like Mike Tyson to throw it.
Mm,
I think I think that stuff like that
yeah.
could be happening because these people have got hundreds of millions, aren't they? I'm worried about that because we know what Mike Tyson did. He kept pulling his punches, didn't he?
Of course he did. It was the amount of well I've released the script beforehand, so we could read it while the fight was going on, so we didn't deviate. But yeah, blimey as well. Amir, for a guy that, do you know what I mean, lost to one of the greatest amateurs of all time, and did what he did in the sport, and fought everyone and stepped up weight stuff to fight. What, I don't even know who KSI is. What, banged out a fruit drink and had a YouTube channel watching him play games? Come on, Khan. He must have enough money. I know he spunked a lot on that centre in Bolton he's selling, but surely he's better than that. That's ridiculous. Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, if it does happen, I hope he gets paid a lot of money and don't get hurt because I don't think he's a bad fella.
Well, Amir Khan, I've met Amir Khan several times. He's always been all right with me. Uh, I'm glad to see that him and Froch have squashed the beef, but
Me too.
that's what boxing people are like when they meet you face to face. It's only
Yeah,
banter. It's only banter. Then as soon as you walk away, they go tosser.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I don't buy into all that, and I know what gets said behind the scenes by a few of these people that fall out, and I can
Yeah.
assure you, it's just for the cameras. Nobody wants to rock the boat out in Saudi, do they?
No, I did like the Carnes though at 70 in 2004. Watching how you could have not found a more patriotic man than Carnes down at the Olympics. I liked seeing that. I liked seeing that. So I always liked him after that. But please don't fight KSI. I'm here.
If he fights KSI, right, and he loses, what does that mean for boxing? What does
It
it?
just it legitimizes the misfits charade more as well. I know. And if it's a scripted one, you're just selling your decency for a pound. Now, he must have enough money to not have to do that. And he must be set up for future generations. Surely he doesn't need that. Jesus. Yeah.
Well,
I didn't know you were going to raise that, Porky. I didn't. I've been out the loop this week, but God.
what about Vladimir 49? Burnt Bont telling people they're in talks.
Oh God.
For
Thing is,
Fury, what's all that about 49, isn't he, in 6 to 7 weeks?
thing is, Vlad's probably in better shape than half the boxers that are still fighting. But again, a man, I know he got chinned multiple times before he got with Stewart and learnt defensive approaches, but he needs that like a nail in the head. Again, is it the money? Because again, the Klitschkos aren't stupid. I can't have imagined they spent the money on an excessive lifestyle. They're quite measured people. Um, yeah. Oh God. But again, yeah, a man that supplemented well during his career. Obviously, he only won the Olympics because his older brother got failed a steroid test in '96. So I suspect he'll be in good shape if he does come back. But again, a sorry saga if he does. Who is he fighting if he does, Porky?
Oh, Amir Khan.
No, Mr. Klitschko.
Fury.
God, really? When did they fight? 2015. They
Yeah,
were
what,
old. They
10
were
years
old
ago, didn't
then.
it?
Yeah. Oh, that's yeah. Cash out.
Well,
Yeah.
Fury's still got a contract that's valid to fight Ngannou. Did you know that one?
I did not know that. So we might see that again. Again, it's just making a mockery. The cross promotional, the misfits, the MMA boxers. Yeah, I don't want to see any of that. I want to see boxers fight boxers and not fit and not middle-aged men fight and knackered fighters fight um, MMA fighters. Yeah. But nothing would surprise me, Porky. Nothing would surprise me if Amir steps in with a YouTuber and a 50-year-old man, as he'll probably be when he steps in, fights Morecambe's finest.
Well, we'll see, won't we? We'll see.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see Amir Khan and KSI, and I certainly don't want to see Vladimir and Fury because if Tyson Fury fights Vladimir next or Ngannou, what does that say about him? What does he think about boxing fans? Is he that far removed from reality
Will it
and
be?
giving something back? I mean, we all know he's full of shit. 7 million to homeless and £1 million to Piers Morgan's charity and all that. We know that he tells whoppers just for effect,
Yeah,
and
didn't give
then
a
next
quid.
day he changes his mind. But if
Yeah.
he were to fight Ngannou next, right, which is in his contract, and they're trying to get the Vladimir one, and that's why Vladimir were out there hanging out at the back of Turkey. And Turkey wants that fight. If they were to do that, where would that leave boxing?
Oh, I spotted him there. I thought he was just hanging around with the other paid famous people. Do you know the only thing that the silver lining wouldn't be hilarious if he did make the fight with Fury and beat him, just to really urinate on Fury's mythical legacy. But I don't want to see either of them. I don't think anybody does, and I don't think anyone needs it either. But yeah, God, their curveballs. Didn't anticipate either of those being mooted. I am out the loop.
Well, uh, okay. Cabell and Bacoli, we spoke about him, but Cabell, he don't get his flowers either, does he really?
Not at all. I don't know who he's with promotionally, but he's been European champ 3 times now. I know he won the title twice in succession because it became vacant. He won it, then it was vacant again. But he's a brilliant fighter. He's not old. He's been the B side in quite a couple of fights. He's good to watch. He manages to not be a giant but break down giant. Was it Majidov or something that he systematically broke, who was meant to be the next big thing? Um,
Yeah.
he's been around ages without being too old, a little bit like Joseph Parker, although obviously not a world champion. I really enjoy watching him, and I like him, and he's good to watch. He's the type of person I want to see in a credible world title fight because I think he can win one, and I think he deserves it, and I like him as well.
Yeah.
I do, I do. I think he's a good boxer, and obviously I know there's a language barrier in some things, but I think he comes across really well as well. And I don't know who's promotes him or manages him because I would have thought he'd have had a chance earlier than now. But he might be in the Who Needs Him club like Bacoli. Big risk, what reward?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Joe Joyce has put a statement out saying he ain't retiring and he's going to be around for a bit yet because there's no miles on clock. Have you seen it?
No miles on the
Yeah.
clock.
I
If
know
he,
I know he's 40 this year, but he's only done 103 rounds, hasn't he?
I remember you mentioning that, but he was an amateur for a long time. He waited the cycles, and I know he's not had load, but there's miles on the clock. Just because you've got low mileage doesn't mean you're not a D-Reg Fiesta. He's been around forever, and he had a he had a terrible, terrible. He's had some terrible recent fights. What has he lost? He's lost his last three credible fights, if we have to include Chisora credible. He's lost them. I know he fought the chap who you know from Sheffield, who beat Price. But yeah, he's had his day. He's got all the things he can do. He's an intelligent man. He's got a fine art degree. He was a decent chap. Could do something else. He must have made money from when he was with Queensbury. I know he was always a B-side to Dubois in Frank's eyes, but he must have made enough money to not have to fight. But he's so slow. I know he was never fast, but the skills he was his success was that he was meant to have a skull thicker than John Fury. Um,
That was Sam Jones's knackers, wasn't it? That do you remember when he was running around like a headless?
oh yeah, like
Going on
Sam.
about bone density test. Well, I pulled somebody right from Claremont, and he went, "You are? What are they talking?
Well,
Bone density test? What a load of shit!"
yeah, like Sam now. But you got to be fair to Sam. He's his pal. He's his pal. So he knows his pals. But no, he doesn't need to fight on. If he does need to fight on, what's he done with his money? But he's a very measured man. I can't imagine he's pissed his money up the wall. He doesn't seem to have lived an excessive lifestyle, but he's
Who
shot.
else?
Joyce. He can't. Like I say, I can't imagine that he's.
Well, you
He,
can't imagine him out on the town on a Saturday night, can you? I mean, how would
no,
he even order a drink at the bar? He'd be like,
it'd take him 2 hours to get noticed and get his words out. I'm being flippant, but he doesn't need to. I don't want to see him fighting on. He's done. He's done. He turned pro late, and I like the fact that he didn't fight bums for 15 fights to pad his record. So he hasn't fought as many rounds as some other people, and he fought the chap that White fought for the British title in his first fight, and I admired that. He fought some solid people early on, but he's done.
"Well, what do you think to me profile picture?"
I won't, I'm not sure what we're meant to call the person who he's holding now, but let's just say Maloney to avoid getting sued. But that is making me smile. Yeah, that's a very good picture. A very youthful
Imagine
looking.
old people's in his gym in London.
Oh yes, yes. Yeah,
Hey,
that's when. Yeah, the irony was he used to be quite homophobic, didn't he? So that's a turn up for the books.
listen, let
But
me tell
yeah,
you a story. In '80s, I know a kid that went down there to fight, and they picked him up from train station in a one of them 4.2 Jags like Arthur Daly's, a Daimler.
yeah, yeah. Was it an
A
exchange?
Daimler, not a Jag. It was a Daimler. And
Oh, okay.
him and that Eugene, is it? They picked these guys. So
Yeah,
I
his brother.
zooming about in this Daimler. We him in front. He's like that. Him and Dennis were business partners, you know.
Were they really?
Yeah, Dennis and Mr. Miss, I don't know, is it Mr. and Mrs. Maloney? I'm not sure how you
Let's
pronounce
just call him Maloney to avoid
Maloney.
getting
Maloney and Big Ron were
to avoid
business
getting
partners for
cancelled.
years.
Yeah, very interesting.
Dennis,
The,
Dennis, it's Frank. I used to phone Michelle. Just tell him it's Frank.
he fought as an amateur himself, didn't he? When he
Listen,
was
I'll tell you a little story. Right, one Sunday morning. What's going on here? There were big satellite thing pulled up on Dennis's farmyard up he sold it now, so I'll say what it was. We're on the Ridgeway Moor, Oak House at Ridgeway Moor, Derbyshire. So there was this massive, like, like you get them big satellites that you see when there's boxing shows on at arenas.
yeah,
There were one of them, and it had this big, massive satellite dish on Dennis's drive. What's going on? They were in Dennis's farmhouse getting an interview with him about when when he had his big moment, when it all came out.
yeah,
I don't know how you word that now, because I've had that. There's that much you can and can't say now on YouTube. We
yeah. Well, let's just
you
say
we
Maloney.
get a contract sent, don't we? So you can't say. So anyway, Dennis had to give his opinion on that, and then they went from there to Brentwood, to Great Wally, to Barry Earn's office to get one off him. Do you know what I mean? I'll never forget. And Dennis was in shock. what can you do? I mean,
Yeah.
how do you even talk about all like that? I mean,
I
but
don't know. The weirdest thing for me was I remember when for some period it was promoting Valaev. Do you know that 7 foot
yeah, yeah.
flat front? I remember watching him on some UK fights, not knowing what he'd go on to achieve. I just thought he was the hairiest man in history, but maybe he liked him hairy. Who knows? But like I say, I don't want to put it in a legal minefield. So it's a lovely picture. Let's leave it at that.
Well, at the time when that picture was took, nobody had ever seen Lennox with a bird, had they?
No, I remember that everyone used to say he were gay because he actually liked his mother, as opposed to like that meant something. I remember that he used to get a lot of stick for that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when they tried to push him as a West Ham fan because he were born round there. That didn't last long. Same with when they tried to pretend Hay was a football fan with Millwall. But yeah,
Millwall. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
What
never
about
watched
Emily
the
Bridges when she dived on Man United thing at Manchester show and then went Leeds show? She went.
Leeds. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is she up the duff now? Is she stopped boxing?
Well, I don't know. People keep telling me that she's been popped, but nobody sees
Yeah.
it. I think she's pissed that many people off behind the scenes that nobody wants to work with her. She's a bit of a diva, apparently.
I bet she is. Yeah, I bet she is.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
From Maloney to Ebony Bridges, eh? Who would have thought it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, you what, mate? Oh, yeah, from Maloney to Ebony Bridges. You couldn't make it up. This is boxing, though, isn't it?
No, but
Nothing
both got a bit of
surprises me in life, Sean.
both got a bit of plastic in them now. Good luck to them.
Yeah, good luck to him. Uh, I seen something earlier. Somebody was saying to me that Joshua's had more critics than Fury over his two losses to Usyk than Fury has. Well, the Fury fanboys have tried to turn him into bad decisions, and Joshua just took it on chin, didn't he, and went berserk. What do you think to that, Sean?
I think that's absolutely right. I think I know he didn't take his when he jumped in the ring, it was a bit weird, possibly uh, having a mini breakdown and then crying after. But I think that's right. I think that's right. I think Josh was conducted himself a little bit better afterwards, whereas the Fury machine um, has stayed in overdrive and claiming to try to rewrite it afterwards that it's somehow two robberies when it's clearly not. He lost to, admittedly, an potentially all-time great, but he could get so much. You could have had so much grace in defeat. Sometimes when you lose, when you accept it and you have a bit of dignity about it, your stock can elevate even if your boxing legacy doesn't. But Fury's everyone's had the filler Fury. He's had enough chances. He's had so many chances after some of the things he's done and said, and then he get out of jail card is I'm bipolar. I'm bipolar. Don't have a go at me. Where yeah, Fury Fury doesn't seem to have been able to accept defeat very well. Ironically, a little bit like Wilder when he lost to him, but sometimes you lose in boxing and you don't need to whinge about it, but he's still whinging. But he's probably not whinging at the moment because he probably still doesn't know what day of the week is when he's probably in a flat in Morecambe, not knowing what day of the week it is. So maybe he'll get some dignity afterwards when he unretires.
Well, we'll see, won't we? We'll see. Uh, Francis Warren's shaved his head. Have you seen
Has he
it?
really? It was
He's dead bald and gone on Talksport with Moses Atome, and he looks like he's done a load of weight and he's looking well, old Francis. We can't call him Fat Franny no more now. Oh,
is
he's
Franny the one?
shaved his head. He looks well.
No, good luck to him. Good luck to him.
Yeah, good luck to Francis, the housewife's favourite.
Yeah, I've never, I don't know. He's got one son that looks like him, and then one son that looks now like him. But yeah, Francis is managing some of the fighters now, isn't he? As
Well,
well. So,
obviously, it's like being given a leg up, Annie. Let's have it right. Them fighters, technically, are run by Bricktop. They're just doing the leg work. That's all that is.
same
Bricktop
with
will sign off on everything. They'll not put Moses Atome in with anybody without the father saying so. All Francis will be there for just to make sure that he's got a roof over his head. He pays all his bills, petrol in his car, he's insured, and he's got no slags around his house on a weekend. That's all
same,
he's there for.
same with Sam Jones. Sam Jones is equivalent of in football, the football liaison officer. He's not a manager, is he? He just makes sure the promoters are getting looked after on their behalf. Ditto the Sims when they train people. They get past them by the matchroom people, and then they do what they're told, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what it's like. It's that manager's license means no. It means Sam Jones is the manager, right, for Johnny Fisher. Are you telling me that Eddie's not running show there?
Sam Jones has not made one decision about the direction of career for Johnny Fisher since he turned
No.
over.
No, all he did, all Sam Jones is, and that's what Eddie needs. Eddie loves all that. Somebody who can waffle like him and absolutely swallow. You know, like
Yeah,
Bricktop needs that Dev cheese and pickle sandwich. He
yeah.
needs him because he can waffle and waffle and waffle and waffle and paper over any crack and go out and do a good PR job because he's well spoken and he clean cut and all that bollocks.
The only reason they've
Sam
got
Jones is, even though he looks a tool with a beard.
the only reason they have a role in the sport is you can't have a manager who's also a promoter anymore. So they act as that patsy for them, don't they?
Yeah,
That's as
that's it.
clear as day.
Yeah, that's it. There you go. So Fruity Francis has shaved his head. So go on, kid, and done some weight. Well done, but I don't agree with what he said about Fury and Joshua being national heroes. And it shouldn't matter that they're not world champions. They're
What
national heroes, what they've done for the sport.
what
Well,
have they done?
Fury, how's Fury a national hero? And what about Joshua? He's a convicted drug dealer, isn't he?
Yeah,
That
what have they done?
so
What have they done to become national heroes? And where's the heroism coming? Was it when he got caught with a couple of ounce in his boot? Was that his precursor to heroism for AJ? What was it? What was the was it getting gifted the Olympic gold medal against Camarel because it was in London? Was that the heroism? Was it Fury's weird biblical statements and homophobia that got him national heroism? I don't know where the heroism kicked in.
which question am I answering there? Because you just asked me five.
Sorry, I'm doing that, and that's terrible. But no, I don't think either are national heroes, and I can't think of one thing that's made them heroes. They've not been dignified in defeat at
No,
all, so no, neither are heroes. If they're heroes, I'm good looking.
they've not been dignified in Joshua's not been dignified in all his defeats, right? And Fury, we don't even need to. We know what he is, don't we?
We do.
You know what I mean? So, how are they national heroes, right? People only need to go on social media and look at the stick they get. Well, what it wasn't so long ago that Joshua were telling people not to buy anything out of certain shops, wasn't he?
Oh, and he did a little speech, didn't he? I remember that. So that's national unity and that's national heroism. Yeah. So if that's a national heroism, you can keep it then.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. He made those statements publicly. He needs to be judged by them.
Yeah. Is Eddie playing second fiddle? Jonathan's asked me just now to Bricktop. I think he is, isn't he now?
I think he's playing third fiddle to Warren, then Spencer Brown.
Spencer
So
Brown.
yeah,
Spencer Brown,
he's third fiddle.
he's above Eddie, isn't he? Pecking order.
He is, yeah. No, he's got more of the ear of Turkey than him. Yeah, no, he's not second fiddle, he's third fiddle.
Yeah. Okay, and we're going to finish off on this one now. We'll not say who sent the email, but somebody from Oz, a media guy from Australia, sent an email. And what do you think to that email? Because you've seen it, Sean, haven't you?
I think it's extremely insightful and telling because obviously I have a little bit of connection to Australia, having been there, because my mother-in-law settled there when she retrained as a nurse because they actually get paid properly over there. I think that gentleman shone a light that I didn't know about how people felt about Aussies there. We're led to believe that Skye, for instance, is the Australian saviour of boxing. She seems to be actually seen for what she is, which is a matchroom add-on and very close to certain persons within Matchroom, and then moving over to others in Opataya. They don't seem to think he is the second coming of Christ. So that was a really interesting and I thought a very articulate email from someone that has painted a picture of more reality of how things are seen because we don't know how people feel in those countries because we're very British focused. So I thought the person who sent that was bang on the money, and I think it was quite encouraging that there's people not just in the UK that see through the BS around Matchroom and people that are hyped beyond their abilities.
I agree. Before I give my opinion on Skye Nicholson, I've just sent you that picture of Fruity Francis Warren. Can you have a look at that, Sean?
Is that on email or WhatsApp?
All right, on WhatsApp. Have a look at the man.
I
Have a
will
look.
have a glag. Bear with me. You know my
Hang
digital
on, mate,
incapability. Just let me get my fat hands to have a look at it. Um, I'm sure it's going to be comedy gold.
Here you go. Hang on.
I've got it. Let's let it download.
Hang on. What about that one then, kid?
Jesus. Yeah. Breaking Bad.
Hey,
Yeah.
come on, Francis there with square jaw and old lot. He's gone for full Grant Mitchell look, hasn't he?
He has. We should have ended with the EastEnders end
It
credits, but
looks
I can't
better
do
than that
them.
ginger comb over he had, though, doesn't it?
It does. When you're losing the battle with your hairline, you need to give up the ghost. I need to take that advice from Francis. I think I need to and give up the ghost. The only thing for me is I've not got the ears for baldness, so I might need a trip to get him pinned back. But fair play, he looks better with no hair.
Yeah. Okay. Right, getting back to Skye Nicholson, right. Obviously, she's the cat's out the bag over there, what's been going on with them two, because that's what he's been doing. But there's too many know now, isn't there, about him and her. Eddie Hills. Now, she's never going to be a Katie Taylor, is she? But they're trying to push her with that Katie Taylor brush, aren't they? To take over. She's the next big noise. Coogan's give a female fighter a year on strength or what?
That made me laugh, that did. That was symptomatic of how IFL are in-house PR. Sky, there are so many boxers that have done so much better in the female game than Sky Hills. I mean Nicholson, sorry, and I've got Tourette's. Um, that no, there's no way what's she done? It's more who she's done, and what she's done is not is not win anything. Sorry, I keep having the Tourette's kicking out. I didn't know I had it until 5 minutes ago, but she's done nothing to achieve that. Whereas there's people that have actually achieved something in the sport. People like Katie Taylor that have
Yeah.
achieved masses in the sport.
Terry
Um,
Harper's achieved more.
Terry Harper, my favourite female boxer. You
She's
know
not
my
female.
bias.
She's not media savvy though, is she, Terry? But
No, she's not. She's a humble working
done
class
well for. He's
girl.
done well for her, hasn't
Yeah, she's a humble working class girl, notwithstanding with who she's managed by.
he?
She's
Yeah.
done ever so well. She's turned her life around from working in a chippy to winning multiple titles. And even at the other end, there's boxers managed by quality people like Gallagher, such as Jonas, who I don't think she's the best commentator in the world, but she's won multiple world titles. How can you pick Skye Nicholson above someone like that who's actually achieved something in the sport? Unless you're doing them.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree, mate. I agree, but I just think that she's tried to do the old shortcut route, like Shannon Courtney, and that backfired, didn't it?
Yeah, let's just say that Sky's abilities have been helped by her having a wide stance inside and outside the ring.
I mean, this is how I look
Rather,
at it, right? She's been gifted a WBC belt, hasn't she?
yep.
Been gifted it. She's had defences of that belt. And what does he think he's going to do over there? Because nobody's buying into it. All the people, matchmakers, managers, promoters, everybody in the boxing industry, media know about them. Why don't they just put it on her or put it on him? Why ain't anybody putting it on him about what's been going on?
And because we all know the reason is he's been putting it on her. And it just goes to show, sadly, within that aspect of the sport, and I won't say the second sentence, but it's not always necessarily who you know, it's who you, and we can probably end on
Well,
that
he's
for a
old
finish.
enough to be a dad, isn't he? If you look at the date of births.
There is something weird about that age gap for me. Having worked in safeguarding for a number of years, that's a worrying age gap for the power imbalance, and that makes me think of Eddie. What sort of person are you to think that's legitimate and okay?
Well, what can you do? It's one of them, innit?
We can call it out, Porky, which is what we're doing now, and more people should.
Listen, I'm not really bothered about any of them. I just tell it straight. All I say to them is this: just get your coat off and get stuck into me if you've got a problem. It's not rocket science, is it? What's the worst thing that
Absolutely.
can happen? One of us gets knocked out. You know what I mean? That's the bottom line. People should just not live in fear. Oh, I don't want to upset him because down the line I might need to get my fighter on a show with him. I say, yeah, but you don't know but slag him off. And then I see you sat in a restaurant drinking Costa with him. Yeah, I'm doing the best of my fighters. There's no, you're a two-faced cunt.
Absolutely. And
And
they have
that's
to
why
read
people can't look me in the eyeball. They
because
can't
you
look
know
me in the eyeball because when they come up to me now, I just look at them and I laugh.
because
People
that's
don't even text me, because they know what'll come back. There you go.
honesty.
I'm telling you
Honesty.
now, mate. People in boxing, you'll be surprised. They don't even text me because they know I'll go. You've got some knackers, haven't you? Pull your tongue out certain people's arseholes after everything you said. I look at it like this. It's a man in the mirror moment, and that's Julian McGowan's saying. There's some people in boxing who I know and I've known years, people around here and other areas, they need to look in the mirror and say, oh, God, I've really shown my sin up there. But they can't do it. They can't
Because
look
if
in that mirror. I can. I'm all right.
and I think that that's worth more than having 200,000 paid for subscribers and access to our slickers. So I keep on doing what you're
You know
doing,
what? Have you
Porky.
seen that film? I watched this film with my little lad a couple of weeks ago. First time he's seen it. Fast and Furious, it was. And I think it might have been at the beginning or something. But he's died. That kid now. He was a model, one a blonde haired
I
kid.
know, I
Paul
know exactly.
Paul Walker.
Yeah, he died in a
And
horrific
he's
car
turned
accident. I
round.
remember.
He turned round and he said something like, "It's not about the pink slip or something. It's the respect or something." And that struck a chord with me. That, and I feel like that sometimes. And it reminds me when my dad were pointing somebody out to me when I was a kid, just going up to comprehensive. And he was telling me so and so and so and so, something had happened. This guy with a scabbing strike or something, and I've gone, oh God. And then when it got to school, it were all about school, but this guy with a scab, and it was like a bad thing. You know what I mean? He'd done something really
Yeah,
bad. And he couldn't look his Senate mirror. This guy was telling people, and he tried to put it right, but he couldn't, and he had to leave area. And I look at some of these people in boxing, and I think, fucking hell, well, there's loads of them.
yeah, you're right. They
Most
are
of them,
the
no, people had more pride back then. I mean, could you
yeah.
imagine some of these having to go 1 year and a day without the
They'd,
job and without any dome and they couldn't have anything, right, for
they'd
a
have been.
year and a day? Could you imagine some of these in boxing? They couldn't go
It's.
one.
I think it's a really relevant analogy. These people are the scabs of the sport that have been on the floor of the bus getting shipped into work within day three of the strike.
Yeah,
But I think you need to be able to look because you can look yourself in the face and know that the integrity that the people who aren't like that is worth more than the weight in gold of access and views as well. So your channel will keep on growing and they can carry on scabbing. And
yeah,
honestly, fuck them.
yeah, there you go. Right, thanks for coming on, Sean. You've been a real
My
tonic.
pleasure.
Hope you're well.
I've really enjoyed it, Porky, and
We've had a
thank
good
you for
laugh,
having
haven't
me.
we?
We have, it's genuinely enjoyable. I go on this for selfishly. I love talking about boxing and I love not having to temper what I say and talk drivel to be able to get some airtime. So I look forward to having listening to your other guests as well. And thank you for taking the time
Brilliant.
to have me.
Thanks for coming on. You take care.
Take care, Chief.
Cheers,
Bye.
mate. Bye. Bye. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. That's about it, really. Hope everybody's enjoyed it. If you don't like any of these videos, don't watch. If you like them, press like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Like I said, I'm not forcing anybody to watch on here. My style's a little bit different to everybody else's. I don't lick arsehole. Yeah, I'm comedy trained as well, Anna, so I try to make it funny. All right, and I know a little bit about boxing, just a little bit, but we try to do it tongue in cheek. All right, but sometimes we have to say what we say, don't we? Because we're dealing with people here that are taking the piss out of boxers. Boxers are getting knocked about, in my opinion, and they're not getting looked after. No, no, there's people cheating left, right, and centre. People getting title shots that they shouldn't get. It's been going on for years, and I like to say my bit. All right. Go on, booyaka. Max! Don't text me, Max, till you're 18 stone. I keep telling you. You keep sending me knackers. Booyaka.